Hello and welcome to the Junkyard Love Podcast.
At what age do we learn how to have better conversations? At what age do we learn to have better conversations with ourselves?
Knowledge is power.
Reality is...
Cool, we're good to go. Ryan Baker, hello, sir. Welcome to the Junkyard Love Podcast.
What's up? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man, I'm glad you're coming on.
So I want to know one thing.
Hit
So
me.
I was sitting here thinking all night, like, okay, if you asked me this question, what would I say to this, or just try to think of things. But honestly, this is the first time that I think that I've like truly met and talked to you. I want to know why I keep getting other people like, hey, you should jump on this guy's podcast. I mean, I've had many people could like keep saying it over and over again. I'm like, okay, fine, I'll do it. Like, what made you want to start this podcast? Tell me, like, this is the first time I was meeting. I wanted to know a little bit about you, like, what has drawn me here.
Wow, yeah. Yeah, that's a good way to start it out, man. So I hope it's a good thing that people are recommending. Like maybe they're saying, like-mindedness or good things
Well, I have
within
like
each
a
of us.
clothing line, the persistence.
Persistence.
Like, I'm all about positive motivation, manifestations, and
Love
I'm in
it,
my
yeah.
music and stuff. And I have a lot to say all the time. And so people are just like, oh, you should really come and talk to this guy. You guys are a lot alike. So I just want to know a little
Yeah.
bit about you and see.
Yeah,
myself.
word. Yeah, I resonate with that. I mean, because that's kind of like my thing. And I feel like people, when they first start listening to my podcast and they don't really know me, that's the first thing they come back. They're like, oh, like you're all about positivity. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, I guess kind of. I mean, in comparison to some other podcasts, I'm not. My thing with the podcast is just kind of like that everybody has something to offer. Like everybody has value. And if you are able to go into a conversation with like openness, curiosity, inquisitiveness, respect, joy, those sort of things, like you give space to the other person to like share something they didn't even know they had inside of them. Like everybody has their gems just waiting to pop out of them, given the right conversation. So how I started the podcast was really a mental health thing. Like, I've been, I see that you do beatboxing, so I definitely want to talk about that in a little bit, but, I've been DJing for like 10 years or so. Maybe.
I went to one of your concerts, actually. I was thinking
did
about
you?
it at the Regent. It was like a Halloween party.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's, yeah, I mean, that's how
I
like,
was thinking about it.
that's how, how I like kind of like started my following, sort of say. Like I don't have a ton of followers. Like I don't have like fame or anything like that, but the small amount of like people knowing my name is started from DJing. And through DJing, I feel like I was able to build a brand where I felt confident in saying things like on social media, or having an opinion and not being like nervous about sharing it, or just sharing it to your family members on social media or something.
That's people's biggest mistake. It's
What?
like worrying about what other people think about you. And I was kind of thinking about this too, like, trying to like censor yourself, or you know what typecasting is?
Mm-mm.
So basically, when like an actor gets stuck in a role, like
Mm.
they're the fat guy, like, or they're the nerd, or they're the big
Mm.
bad guy. They get stuck in a role. A lot of people do it on TikTok, on Instagram and stuff. And the moment they do something else, they lose followers, they freak out, they have to jump back into the role. That's why I like fluidity. Like, I just want to like let people know, like, this is who I am at all times. Like, this is me at my lowest, and this is me at my highest. I'm not going to sugarcoat or hide anything. If you don't like it,
Yeah.
then you're probably not my friend. You know, and it's
Right.
like, that's why should you hide yourself from anyone? If you are yourself, you're more likely to, you know, your vibe attracts your tribe. You know what I mean? So I'm
Yeah.
just like unapologetically me, no matter who I am. I'm not even anyone. You know?
Yeah. No, that's brilliant. No, I like that, because we do get caught up in our avatars. We the first thing that popped in my mind when you're like, oh, I'm the fat guy, or I'm the whatever. I remember this dude. This was a couple months ago. I went to Chevron, and this guy who was working there like had a broken leg or something like that, and I just overheard him talking, and someone was asking about it, and his response was like, oh, I should know. I'm a big guy. I shouldn't be running. And like that was his reasoning for why his leg was broken. And I'm like, oh man, you really like put yourself into this corner, into this divot by doing that. But yeah, so I think that's why I always have trouble securely answering that question, because I try to watch myself when I'm trying to be like something, when I'm like, oh, I'm trying to be the positive guy, or I notice that I'm trying to be, or I'm trying to force it. That's when I'm like, oh fuck, I got to step. Like, am I over strangling that? Am I trying to put on a performance? Am I getting too caught up in who I think I need to be, rather than just authentically being myself? It's
it's
like that.
The fun out of it too.
Yeah, the term act natural has always been like mind blowing to me. I'm like, how do you act natural? This doesn't make any goddamn sense. So my I guess so I started. So you've heard of me through DJing, or heard me DJing rather. That's kind of how I started. I feel like people listening to me, and then, you know, fast forward many years, I end up going through some mental health stuff. I just kind of had like a rough childhood that I didn't fully deal with, and it started affecting me as I got older, and things start coming up without me wanting them to, that sort of stuff. So I stumbled into podcasts. It wasn't just podcasts, but it was like meditation, you know, Buddhism, yoga, like you know, CBD, marijuana, nootropics, like just listening to all these influential people who started changing the way that my brain works, started changing who I am, my conscious thought. I can't wait to hear about it. And so I started listening to Joe Rogan, honestly, like, is probably one of my bigger inspirations. I didn't even know what podcasts really were, but I stumbled onto his clips on YouTube, 14-minute clips, and hearing two grown, mature men having like heartfelt, honest, real conversations back and forth, whether they were kind of funny, whether they're serious, whether they're about motivation, whether they're about addiction, whether they're about depression. I was like, holy shit.
At first,
like,
it starts off with like, you know, like the person jumping on like, okay, what am I going to talk about? And then Joe's just there to talk, and people just kind of just like, he can just keep a conversation going, flow through it. And then
you create that space.
People just end up being comfortable and then word vomiting for, you know, the rest is
dude, that's, you know, there's beauty in that word vomit though. Like that's, I feel like that's really where a lot of the gems come from. You know, my friends will come on the podcast and I'm like, I don't know if I really have much to say, or they'll text me afterwards like, I don't know if I really formed any complete sentences. And then it's like, I can send them a clip back and be like, dude, listen to what you just said. You said the most profound shit for 3.5 minutes, and you think you just coming out here with no value. Like, everybody has value, is, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So that's kind of like how I started. I really got into it. Just like really started learning how important mental health is. And I just really saw the value in being able to help people by just having conversations with a mindfulness, positive lens.
I think I see where the connection is between you and I. It's like same story, man. Like to a T.
Yeah. So what is have you lived in like Longview, Kelso area your whole life, or?
I was born here. I was born here, and then I moved away. Went to like 13 different schools. Jeez. Lived in like 70 different houses, just all over the place. Like no stability. And I didn't come for the best place either. Just, you know, dropped out, went to the military, went into this, blah, 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 just in and out of like homelessness and stuff like that. So I get it, like coming from the bottom. And like, I think a big part of how I got past all of that was also, you know, self-help books, meditation stuff. But the biggest thing was like learning self-love. And a lot of that, you know, it's like a lot of your life can become from like programming, and like, you know, this is how we get addicted to struggle sometimes if you're in it. And so it's like you kind of keep making mistakes because the uncomfortableness is comforting. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So like a lot of I read this book called 10X Rule by Grant Cardone. It was when I was in car sales, and it really kind of changed my whole entire mindset towards everything. It's like find your breaking point and make that your comfort zone. And so I found like accelerating my life to be my new comfort zone, if that makes sense. And a lot of and to reach that level, I had to let go. I let go of like everything. I actually like got rid of a bunch of pictures from my past, like a bunch of notebooks and stuff, got rid of a bunch of stuff in my house, deleted my Facebook, just like everything that was like my past and like was a ball and chain. I just like one day I was just like, it's gone.
Damn.
And it's just like a huge weight lifted off of me. And now it's just like, okay, what's the next step? What's the next step? What's the next step? What's, you know, my future goals? And you know, it's always the next step. I don't ever look back at all because the back's not moving forward. You know what I mean? So it's like,
Yeah.
I'm so focused on a vision, and I have end goals and I have midterm goals, but like right now it's like today is today, and that helps me get through. You start off with morning motivations and manifestations and stuff, and just like I can only be focused on growth. You know, it's like the only thing in front of me and the only thing in my life. Nothing else is even there. I fucking got rid of it.
Dude, that's immense. I love that. So when you talk about like when you got rid of your old, you know, Facebook, or you delete your old social media profiles, what about that felt like a ball and chain? Because I think a lot of people, you know, I end up talking about social media a lot and how it like kind of strangles our identity and keeps us from like, you know, getting in a spot where you are when you're really just thinking about the future. Social media sometimes gets us stuck with our past avatar of like who the people around us think us to be or who we thought we were.
The character you've created.
The character you've created, exactly. So what about getting rid of your social media, or your old accounts rather, or just kind of like moving on, felt like a ball and chain? Like, I think a lot of people would resonate with that part. Why did it feel like it was something that was weighing you down?
A lot of it is being exposed. To be completely honest, because when you're younger and you don't really have like huge self-awareness, post everything. True. You know, like, I mean, I had everything on my Facebook, you know. It's like back to days when I was in partying, you know, all the time, and I had videos of me beer bonging 4 Locos and 40 ounces and stuff. It's just like, you know, then I went through the next stages of life, you know, I was in car sales, the military. It was just like one thing, like, and then I was found out that I was chasing like everything, every like profound thought I had, I just like put it on there as like a mental diary. But and that's what a lot of it is just like, you know, kind of like a diary, but people get to comment on your thoughts, and people get to try and persuade your thoughts and push their opinion if you're an open and outspoken person. And it's just like, I'm tired of all of that outside, you know, the outside clatter coming in on me and trying to I don't know, give their unwanted opinion as well. So like if I had just certain points in my life, someone can bring that back up, or if, you know, like someone new like pops in and they could just pop into a picture that's like 8 years old or something, just like bring it back up like in the middle, or like fact checked everything that you could possibly say. It's just like, this is way too much stress. And there's like politics and all of that too. It's just like, has nothing to do with my goals and my vision. And just, I don't know. I didn't have a good link to my past, and I didn't have a good memory or a thought process of looking back and just being able to have that ready at any given moment. If I was like upset or just weak at the time,
Mm,
just having the option to fuel that, and just it was a huge weight that was lifted off of me.
yeah.
And just like even memories inside my house of things, it's just like, uh, I mean, all of it, yearbooks, all of it. It was super hard. I mean, because at one point in my life, I had everything stolen from me. Like literally everyone in my house, we were partying, we all got roofied, woke up, everything was gone, everything I've ever owned.
Sheesh.
But it was like one of the best things that ever happened to me, actually. It was a terrible moment in time, and I was incredibly depressed about it. But it was like a fresh start. You know what I mean? It was just like I got to start completely back over. And I wasn't carrying any of my memories or anything with me anymore. It was just like, what's the next step? What's the next day? And I think that's what gave me the mentality, was having that huge loss and being able to start over again. It was like, I could literally do this at any moment of my life and then still continue to push forward. And it was like huge strength. And so
Yeah.
that's why, like, getting rid of my social media and all of that was just the same exact thing. Like, okay, this is starting to weigh me down emotionally and stress me out. I just gone.
Yeah. Man, yeah, that's super dope though. I feel like, I mean, of course, with the situation where you got robbed, that's not really your first choice, because I bet you if you asked you the day before, someone was like, "Hey, if all your stuff was gone, like you'd be all right, right?" You'd probably be like, "No, I'd be fucking stressed out. What are you talking about?" And then, sure enough, here you are. You're just fine.
Yeah.
That's kind of the beauty of. I think that the truth about getting older, we really begin to learn, especially our age, because we have so much technology and we're able to like truly, truly change, like really change in just profound ways. I guess kind of like how literature did for the society way back when. But I think that when not just Facebook, but social media, when it first came around, it like we didn't know what it was going to be. We didn't know that it was going to be, literally running a majority of people's conscious thoughts. We didn't know that it was going to be this like ultimate meme populator, which communicates, like pretty intense subjects within one picture. It changes the conscious thought of all these humans that are observing it. It becomes a job interview. Yuval Noah Harari, who is a historian, he wrote the book Sapiens. He talks very elegantly about this, kind of how we're now living in an age where um, your whole life is kind of a job interview in a
Yeah, the
sense.
Black Mirror episode. Have you
Oh
seen
yeah,
Black
where they
Mirror?
like was that the one where they look into your, like they scan your eye and they can see your memories that you like what you've done the last 24
No,
hours or
the
whatever?
one where the chick's walking around with her phone and they're like, "Oh, this is a nice interaction, 5 stars." You know what I mean?
Ah,
And so
yeah,
like they
dude.
like your overall profile like lets you get into a better house, like gives you better opportunities because people like you. You have this avatar. You're just like, God, it's too much and it's too real.
Yeah. It does seem like that's where we're freaking heading, man.
Yeah,
It's not
that's why
super.
I kind of want to remain just like even having my Instagram and remind people all the time, like I'm gonna post whatever the fuck's on my mind because
Yeah.
I like it. If I lose 30 followers in a day, then you shouldn't be following me in the first place.
Yeah. Dude, you see, I like that because I think that Instagram, so I try to do that too. I try to not, I struggle with it because as someone who, a lot of times identify as an artist. Like it's kind of a broad, brushstroke, but I do see and respect the pages that they do it in a certain style. They post in a certain way. If you
Oh,
look at
of
their
course.
profile, it's got its own aesthetic. Like there is all that, but it's not the only way to do a social media. It's not the only way to be an authentic person. It's not the only way to be an artist. It's not the only way to be a creator, whatever. So I do struggle with yeah, like I want to post what's on my mind. Like if I'm sitting there, with my dog or something, I want to be able to post a picture of my dog and not be like, well, it would make me happy. This is making me happy. I want to share my dog with my friends who are following me, but it's not my style. It just ain't the style that I put out there. Then you're suppressing yourself in real life, things that could give you joy. It's kind of a hard thing to wrestle with. Dude, when you talked about like I really thought is sick when you're talking about like your vision of the future, like living from a vision of the future. Have you read any of Joe Dispenza's work?
No.
No, he's pretty woo woo. Like it gets pretty intense. He's like he runs retreats in I mean shit. I don't know. Like I'm not saying I disbelieve it. It's pretty intense stuff. But there will be people at his retreats that'll like heal themselves. Of like they'll be mostly blind, 70% blind or something, and they'll heal their eyesight. There'll be like people who are
Where's this guy at?
Joe Dispenza. He travels around. I think he's from America, but he's a doctor and he talks about like neuroplasticity and changing your brain. I mean, he's a scientist. He's
Yeah.
intelligent. He seems like he knows what he's talking about. I don't know enough to fact check him completely, but I've done a lot of, like you do some of his meditations, some of his visualizations, like positive visualizations, and it's fucking profound, man. Like it seriously feels like it's like a I mean, it's really kind of almost a mystical experience sometimes if you can really
Yeah.
lock into some of these states. But his thing is not being defined by a story of the past, but rather by a vision of the future.
Mm.
And I think there's some real power in that, you know. And
Yeah.
so when you do, like if you talk about morning motivation or morning visualizations, do you find yourself doing that? Like you don't really think much about the past. You kind of think about what do I want to bring into my life? What does my future look like? What do I want to accomplish for myself? What are
There
your
is no past, man. It's just like, what can I do about it? I can't do literally anything. What can I do the next step? You know what I mean? There's only in front of you. If you even look back at all, you're not moving forward, you're walking backward. The moment you turn your head, you're walking in the wrong direction. I don't even think about it at all. That's not something that even pops in my head, not even a little bit. Like I wake up in the morning, look in the mirror, say things, you know, positive affirmation myself, speak things into existence as if they're already there. You know, like I am a successful business owner. I don't even own a business yet. You know, like I'm persistent. I'm successful. I'm a millionaire. I'm not a millionaire, but I say those things, you know, like in every morning and every night. And my next goal, like I accomplished this today, you know, like I will accomplish this. And then I just pump myself up every single morning. And, you know, if you have things written down, you talk about them, you're more likely to do them. It's nice to have, like, I tell people to have like a success board, you know, like a vision board. You have like a picture on the back. When I went to go like buy my house, I wasn't even deciding to buy my house. Like to one day, my grandpa was like, "You're almost 30. You should buy a house." And I was just like, "I don't want to. Like that's expensive." And he's like, "You should really do it." And I'm just like, I was like, "Well, you know, you're freaking 80 years old. You know, like he's got me this far in life, so why not?" Like I put a picture of this house on the back of my phone and put it on my computer, printed a picture out. I had it at work. I had it everywhere. Like the house that I was going to get, I literally surrounded it in every single room, and everything that I looked at the house. There was nothing that I could do to take my vision away from it. It was literally the sole thing I was focused on. So when I woke up in the morning, it was like, okay, what can I do to make this happen? There's no thinking about the past. There's no thinking about what happened yesterday. There's only like today and what can I do to further myself towards my goal? You know what I mean? So that's kind of what I do for my mornings.
Yeah, man, that's super powerful though. I mean, that's so do you have are you a daily meditator? Like do you
Yeah.
Yeah? What got you into meditation at the beginning? Do you remember? Or
I've
like
always
did you
been
start on YouTube or
I've always been big into yoga and you know, trying to calm my mind. You know, it's like a pretty hyperactive person, and I usually have like a lot of sporadic thoughts, and so I try to collect myself. And a lot of it actually started when I could actually meditate. It was like when I started throat singing. It's like I don't know if you know what throat singing is. It's like Mongolian or Tibetan. It's like you, and I like do that in like a microphone, and like I put it like on heavy delay, and so it's just like a constant vibration of energy back and forth between like me and a speaker, and I'll just sit there and like do chant for a good 10-15 minutes and just completely zone out, and there's nothing but that sound. So it's like kind of just like letting everything go, like letting everything go. It's like a big thing for me.
Yeah. Yeah, you kind of got to like you do something to distract the body mind, so the center of what you call yourself, of your perceived reality.
Too.
Yeah, kind of lets go. Running too, you get pretty
cardio,
zoned out running.
Heavy cardio, and lifting, going hiking. It's like anything I can to fully exert myself helps me just let go of stuff too.
Yeah, we're very similar in these ways. I love hiking and running. I'm really big into running. And it's like that's just like, it's a very zen thing for me. Like it's, I'll go through running, like if I'm having a super bad, I still suffer from days of major depressive disorder. And that's just like a dumb way to feel cool about the label of the name. I do depression days sometimes. But I'll run my face off, like sometimes I'll literally be like crying when I'm running, but I'm like, shit, there's some shit in my head that's looping that I got to get out of here, or I got to go, bring my thoughts elsewhere. I'll listen to some motivation. I'll listen to some Tony Robbins or something, or even just like some good acoustic music, and kind of visualize myself, hanging out, listening to someone playing acoustic, and that helps me calm. So yeah, dude,
and your plucking's pretty cool. I like that.
Yeah. So what do you play any other instruments? I saw you. I mean, you're all up in your beatboxing. That's fucking tight.
I did want to say one thing before I answer that question. Yeah. I said that after you climb a mountain, all of your other problems are small in comparison. So that's why every time someone sees me like posting a picture on top of a mountain or like some huge elevation obstacle, it's usually because I'm going through some shit and I'm tackling my mind.
Well, okay, so let's stick there for a second. Like if there's somebody who doesn't really, if there's a listener right now, say they don't really fuck with running. Like they see running or cardio as like, again, with our identity, like, ooh, cardio is not for me. Don't put me down for cardio. That's like another like just catchphrase that people.
You're not down for discipline.
Not down for discipline. Yeah, I like that. Well, all right. So convince these people that maybe they need a little cardio.
Oh, it's just, I mean, that's why I tell anyone for anything, you just got to show up. I mean, the moment that you take your first step is the moment, like you're already there, you're already doing it. If you sit there and think, oh, maybe I'll do this, later, or put it off, or I can't, just for hiking or anything like that, or going for a walk, like, oh, I'm too out of shape, blah, blah, blah. It's like, you're never going to get in shape if that's your mentality. You just got to do it. I don't know. It's just just for going to the gym, just like you're naturally going to get in better shape if you're just there. And just like show up.
Show up. I mean, it really is, dude. Nike, they really have the slogan, just do it. It really is the most, it's profound, it's simple, it makes sense. I think that Mel Robbins has this 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I mean, it's not even like, she basically has this thing. She's a motivational like speaker and author. And her thing is 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Like if it pops into your head, what you do is like, oh, you're laying in bed, you're on your phone, dicking around or whatever, and it thought pops in your head like, oh, I need to go work out. From that thought, you go 5, 4, 3, 2, and by the time you hit 1, get your feet on the ground. Just start. That's it. Yeah. And like little things like that are actually pretty powerful to get us through, because when you're not motivated, all that stuff seems fake at first. It seems fickle. It seems like corny almost. It seems like you're, I don't know, you're almost hacking yourself, but you kind of have to get those habits built. So just kind of like remembering that first step is seriously the biggest thing. Like you said, get to the gym. All right, dude, you're at the gym. Now you're going to work out. Come on. Like get to your car. Go
make your breaking point your comfort zone.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like whatever is uncomfortable, that's what you need to do. And then pretty soon it's not uncomfortable. It's how everything starts. It's always uncomfortable at first, but you just have to make that normal.
Yeah, like driving. Like my first
It's the
time
only
driving.
difference. Yeah.
Do you remember? Do you remember the first time you got? I mean, my experience. I was like 15 or 14 or something. I remember getting on the freeway the first time. I was just white knuckled and nervous. And then now it's like I can drink 4 Capri Suns and Snapchat 25 people at the same time while I'm driving. You know.
I mean, you drink 4 Capri Suns at once. That's
I might
impressive.
I'm gonna hold 4 out and just put 4 straws right in the side of them.
I don't know why you just pour it into a big glass. I don't know.
Now we're thinking, but I wouldn't want it to spill because I'm driving, man. I'm not gonna be reckless. Yeah, but you know that is the thing, is you got to take that first step. You got to trust yourself to just take that first step, you know, get to the gym, get your feet on the floor, like put your shoes out before bed. Like I always try to encourage people to do any sort of physical movement every day, you know, because I think we get caught up in our Western world. Dude, we get caught up in, if it's a workout, it's so you're burning calories or it's so you can lose belly fat. And it's like, no, man, like you feel so much better. Your mental health is so much better just from a little bit of movement every day. And then in turn, the rest of your life gets better.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's your oh yeah, I wanted to ask you about beatboxing. I don't want to miss out on that. So I was glancing back through. I feel like I've seen a couple of your beatboxing videos before, maybe just from social media, but then I was kind of like looking back through the last couple of days since we had this podcast. Man, it's sick. It's a talent that I don't have. I think it's so cool.
Thanks, man.
When did you get into beatboxing? Like what's it about for you?
When I was 16 years old. Well, see, I've wanted a drum set ever since I was a little kid, but I never got one. So I've always made noises too. Like I have like ADHD and I don't know. I'm always fidgeting or picking at something or making random noises, and just like another thing is just help me zone out and let go. Like every time I beatbox, it takes up all of my mental power to be able to do that. I can't even control my eyes. So that's why sometimes when I do videos, like I try to make direct contact with the camera, but if I'm going too fast, it's like, or I'm trying something way too complex, I have to wear sunglasses. You know, it's like,
like is your eyes kind of bug out, or your eyes kind of
yeah, just like, yeah, they float all over the place, and just like, I don't know, that if I'm seeing a camera and I could see my eyes, it just throws me off. I lose my beat too. So. But I started when I was 16, and I heard the Fat Boys stick it, hot stick it, and I just tried that, and then I saw like another video too, and I started beatboxing, just, you know, dumb sounds, but no one was beatboxing 16 years ago at all. So I mean, just like I was doing the most simplest stuff, and I was a hit everywhere I went. So just like I just kept doing it. Pretty soon I started going to parties, and like instantly I found out that like everyone likes beatboxing except, you know, old people or maybe your siblings, you know, just they're just like
right.
Well, like I could just walk up to any party, any situation, any building, and I could just be like, hey, you want me to, you know, like, mind if I blow your mind real quick? And I can just beatbox and like instantly make a friend and have people look at me differently. So I started making it a craft. I started getting into it more. And when I was my younger 20s, I was working at a gas station too. And never forget this guy named Steve Holbert. He actually like took me to a radio show, and he had me go on the radio, and he had me like film this interview. It's on YouTube somewhere still. People like show me all the time. Like, where'd you find that? But, like, it was years and years ago, like almost a decade ago. He did that video, and I've done like 5,000 person stages, and for a while I was going from place to place. Beatboxing I was trying to like take off and like make it my job, and it didn't work out so well. Crashed and burned a couple of times, and actually like left me homeless, you know, lost everything again. So just like, you know, you live and learn, you know, like, you know. So I was like, okay, my next plan is to become financially stable and find out a way that I can just still make my music and still live my life. But it's no longer, I mean, it's still like, I like getting my music out, but at the same time, I really don't want to become famous at all. I don't, because I'm too individual. I'm too opinionated, you know.
Yeah.
And I couldn't please everyone, nor do I want to. I don't want to have an avatar. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Dude.
So it's just like, I do the music for me.
Yeah, I like that though. I mean, fame is. I think that people want to be famous but they don't actually stop and think about what being famous is, like what it would look like.
Everyone's opinion.
Yeah, like people are like you're trying to eat and people are coming up to you and shit. Like you're trying to have conversations and people are coming up to you as, hey, I want something from you. Like, hey, can I get an autograph? Hey, can I take a picture with you? Or hey,
or just even your opinion or your time, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And people are more willing to take you out of context. You know, it's like I always thought it was funny. People will be very, very opinionated about something. LeBron or Adele or Ellen DeGeneres says, but there's people around them all the time that they don't like call out. Like they don't like try to call out or cancel people around them that make mistakes, because that's a ridiculous thing to do. And that these people are human just like you. And you're like, oh, because I love these people. So their mistakes, like I get them and they're not just their mistakes. But when it comes to famous people, somehow it's this instant access to, hey, since you're famous, you are perfect is what you're saying. And every time you prove that you're not, I'm going to call you out. It's just really
and make
weird.
You feel like a piece of shit.
Yeah. Dude.
So a lot of like famous people turn to drugs, and their lives usually end up falling apart a lot faster than everyone else because they have the money to enable that. It's just like, I don't know. I enjoy my music, and I hope that like people enjoy it as well, and I inspire other people to do it. But I have no intention anymore of making that like my life or touring or anything.
Yeah.
If I have a video that like goes viral or something, then so be it. I'm still gonna be me, and then they'll probably leave again. I don't care.
That's the good mindset to have on it, though. I mean, I think me and my friend Crystal were talking. Well, it's been a couple days now on the podcast, but we were kind of talking about how sometimes social media kind of strangles the art anyway. Like if you're trying to post something, like if you're trying to post. There's two different versions that you could be posting. Like, hey, here's like a cool idea, and like as a person who's perfected this craft, or as a person who is on the path to perfecting this craft, or enjoys doing this thing, and I want to share it with the world, and here's a cool idea. Like, here you go, world. There's that, and then there's, okay, sit down, pen and paper. What's gonna get the most follows? How do we make sure we get the shares? Like, how do we make sure we get this? If I say it like this, these people aren't going to like it. So whatever, you start kind of changing the way that you're going to do your art so you can impress people.
Yeah.
And it's not the same thing
anymore. It's
less
creative and it's less individual.
Yeah.
And it's not you anymore, because just like you're not you at that point, you're trying to be what everyone else wants. That's stressful, and you lose creativity and you lose love for what you're doing. It's like, that's the entire reason why you do it in the first place, is what you love doing.
Right.
That's one thing I found out too when I was trying to like, go off into performing all the time and stuff. It was just like, I'm doing this set routine over and over again, and I was starting to like lose love for it. You know what I mean? I don't know. I totally like dropped off for like a year or two too. It's just like, I'm not into it anymore. But then I finally like, all right, I'm not performing. Like I can just fuck around. I'm gonna get into the shower and just beatbox and let out my emotion again. I make the best music when I'm depressed.
Right.
I do.
Yeah.
I don't know. I do. I just let it all out.
Yeah. Well, dude, it's more real. It's more like, hey, here's what I'm going through. I don't fully understand it, but something inside of me does. So here,
Yeah.
Like it falls out of us when we can kind of step out of the way.
That was magnificent.
Yeah, you like my skills? Dude, so I when it comes to like performing the same routine, that's something that I came across with DJing. Like I would Now I feel, I mean, it's a bit different from COVID. So like, I think all my answers for DJing are just kind of like in a weird diverted direction for right now. But as much as I enjoy for the most part just freestyling, like I'll get my playlists in order and then I'll show up to the gig and then I'm like, I'm just going to pull from these playlists here and then I'll freestyle kind of like whatever happens. But a lot of my like good sets, or like when I'd open up for rappers, or I would when I was playing like at a club or a bar pretty much every single weekend, I would basically have, let's say like six routines kind of. And the routines.
Did you DJ at the casino in town?
Yep, I did. Yep, Club 360. I had a residency there for a while.
I was the security there.
Oh,
Now
you know what, dude?
That's
feel
when I
like
first met you.
word. Yeah, I feel like I actually remember that now that you say that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's all coming to me now. I was like, that's when I like first like actually met you. I was just like, God, I know. Where do I know you?
That's what I was
felt
saying.
like
I thought that I had met you before, like
but we
when I
haven't
worked
had
for
like a
social media.
full-on conversation, and we've never hung out or anything. Just like
Yeah.
in passing, it's completely different.
Yeah, you probably like just held the door open for me as I was putting all my gear in or something, like I don't know. But well, hey, it's cool to re-meet you later in life. Isn't that crazy how things work? But yeah, so I was playing there for a
Energies,
while.
man.
Yeah, they get exchanged. They draw each other to each other. I
That's
was
cool.
when it comes to routines, like you, I totally get what you were saying about kind of, you almost get sick of it, or it's not nearly as fun, or it's predictable. Or for me, I would hate to like, since I'm playing in the same town a lot of the times, I would hate to play the routine and I'm like, oh, like these people just heard this exact same transition 2 weeks ago. Maybe they don't remember. They probably don't remember. But I want to challenge myself to like perfect my craft. And then you start realizing how much absolute time it takes just to build a 1 hour routine and like make it flawless and make it to where you're comfortable playing around within that 1 hour, like, 40 to 60 songs. That takes weeks and weeks of work,
Yeah,
So,
it does. That's the job.
yeah. And that's kind of how it goes when it's a job. I'm not DJing as much right now, obviously, because COVID, but we'll see. It's been a weird thing, like, because a lot of my identity was tied to it, a lot of my identity from before, but just when it's something that you do all the time, like listening to music constantly, I'm listening and separating into playlists, and as I'm listening to it, I'm enjoying it, yeah, but I'm also listening to it like, oh, I have this gig coming up in 2 months that's, I'm playing trap music, so I want to play this song for that, whatever. I'm kind of always on. And now, since COVID and a little bit before, now I'm not listening to nearly as much music. I don't feel like I'm working as a DJ all the time because I'm not playing on the weekends and such. So
That can be a positive thing. Time for you to reset and get, re-inspired with new music because you took a break from listening to the same shit every day. Now you can just go like, all right, you're going to dive full back into it. And then you can be just like, oh, I've never done this mix before. I haven't heard this song before. It's like there could be a bunch of new stuff that you haven't heard just because you haven't been in the scene too. Just have new ideas. I know that I've done that, like when I'm beatboxing, and then like I'll do freestyles and stuff, and I'll just get to where I'm like, I can't think of anything new. I'm doing like, no matter what, I'm resorting back to the same sound. I'm resorting back to the same loop, and I get stuck. And I'll just take a break, maybe come back to it in a week or two, sometimes up to a month, and then I'll like go back into it, and I have a fresh new mindset. That beat is completely wiped out of my mind anymore, and now I'm on to the next sound or the next, and so sometimes that's dangerous because I can forget how to do a song, but but still it's refreshing to take a break. So you're probably going to come back stronger.
Yeah, I hope so too, man. I mean, I think a lot of the thing about being creative, the thing about making any sort of art is, even if it's kind of created in a private place, it's created, maybe you're making your music in your basement, whatever, like, but you need the rest of the world to hear it. Like, you need the opinions, maybe not the opinions of other people, but the observations of how people work. You take a break from being just inside your own little echo chamber of nothing but music, nothing but what you're listening to, you kind of forget how is music heard? How do people experience music, you know? And then you go to, you know, some sort of bar or some sort of club, or, you know, even just a restaurant where people are having a good time and having a drink. You kind of are watching inadvertently, oh, what are these people, how do they react to this music? Oh, this song comes on and it makes them
That's
happy.
why I don't like
Makes them
music
connect.
as the job.
Yeah,
It's
because
not
it's always
about
on.
you.
Yeah.
It's not about you at that point. You're just sitting there just like saying, or like just repeating back to me the entire reason why I didn't like being in that environment. It's just like so stressful, man.
When you're working for the crowd.
Stressful job. Yeah, because you're having to be so observant of like what's reactive and what's popular. I mean, and you're good at it. You definitely are. I've been to, now that I remember, every time you showed up, there was a crowd, like literally every time. Like you have a good following, and so I mean, listening to a crowd is definitely your forte. I don't care. I don't care that much. I know. I don't care what everyone thinks or wants. I don't, truly to the core.
Well, dude, it changes. Just like I said, it changes what you're doing. Like, is it like when I'm trying to play to the crowd, there's also a part of me that's like, man, I wish I could play my favorite music, you know?
Yeah.
I almost want to create a story for them. And I did have gigs where I was able to do that when I first started DJing.
Yeah.
That's how I was. I was more like, I'm the artist. I'm DJ Kronos. And you're going to come hear what I have to say. You're going to hear what I have to communicate through music. And then once you start getting paid for the clubs and the bars and stuff, though, you kind of have to like, all right, you know, like not everybody gives a fuck about you, Jake. Like you kind of have to some people just had a long week at work and they kind of want to just listen to their favorite song. They kind of want to just come to the club and let off. So there's this balance of, let me show you cool shit. Let me be an artist up here, but also I am working for you.
I guess it's on the setting.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, if you're at like the Silver Star or something, I can understand that. But if you're like an actual club, you know, you want to throw on some shit people shake their ass to, you know.
Yeah, it's dude, we'll see. I mean, I'm curious to see what DJing looks like when it comes back around.
Everyone's dancing 6 feet apart from each other.
Well, dude, I'm afraid that they're all going to be like, you know, everybody's going to be like wanting me to play the popular TikTok song so they can do their performed choreographed TikTok dance.
You have to be a TikTok, like, you know, enthusiast extraordinary.
No, dude, and I'm not on my TikTok game, bro. I'm not. Like, I feel like an old man. And I'm not even like making any excuses. Like I feel like someone who is trying to like be a content creator. I feel like I should be on TikTok, but I suck so much of my time with Instagram anyway. You know.
So saying be careful.
Yeah. What do you think about TikTok? Like, does it suck you in at all, or how much time do you spend on it?
So it's one thing to be there's several things to be careful. Not only is it addictive, but the algorithms are very intense. I mean, the moment that you like a video, you are entering into that algorithm. Like the moment that you watch an entire video, you've entered into that algorithm. So it's something that you're not interested in, but you just like, I'll throw that a like. You just changed your entire experience, like from that point on. So I had a TikTok before, and I liked some of the wrong things, and it definitely, I don't know, it threw off my experience and it made it not what I wanted it for. And it was just a bunch of stuff on my feed that I didn't really care about anymore. And it was really hard to be able to change the algorithm. So I just deleted it. Lost all my videos and stuff. That's fine. You know, I don't mind starting over. Like I started over, and I've only liked beatboxing. I've only liked music. I've only liked positive motivation. I have like 3 or 4 things that I want to see, even on my like For You or anything like that. So I was like, really important that I kept it, you know, specifically, because the moment that you venture out, you're screwed. You've jumped into a whole other algorithm.
Right.
Everything that you see will be like that included now.
Yeah.
So I like TikTok. I enjoy it. It's fun making little videos. You know, 15 to 15-second clips or something like that. And just like maybe someone will duet with it, and you can put on a cool mix for your DJ. And then all of a sudden another DJ will get into it and like chop your beat or something like that. You have like collaborations just by putting out something, you know. It's just like, it's a cool way to meet a lot of other artists too. I think it's a great tool for a lot of musicians. I'm seeing a lot of musicians, even famous musicians, have started getting on TikTok to, you know, showcase their talents, just because they miss being in front of the camera and people singing. Everyone's on TikTok right now. So if you like one person, you know, DJing or making beats or anything like that, then you're going to see a flood of that. And those people are all in that same algorithm seeing your same thing too. So it's definitely a good way to get out your name and your job and everything.
Yeah.
It is an excellent but also destructive tool. Like I said, you can go down a rabbit hole real quick.
Yeah, dude, absolutely. I mean, I've done my fair shares of YouTube rabbit holes, and I mean, even on Instagram, I guess too. I think that we really have to, again, our age, we're kind of the guinea pigs of these algorithms and like how they work and the way that they work. 29.
Yeah, since we're children, we've been the guinea pigs for technology as a whole.
Yeah, dude, that's why, like, I honestly, I talk about technology and social media on my podcast actually quite a bit, because for me, I was living many years like just with no awareness of it. Like, I wasn't conscious of like how often it was making me do things, or how often my opinions or choices or you know, even values are persuaded and like etched over by what I'm watching, because it's going to feed you what's going to keep you on the platform longer. And after a while, they have such a good profile of you, such a good avatar. Like if you've seen the movie The Social Dilemma, they kind of create basically an avatar for a person, and the more he clicks yes, the more he clicks like, the more he interacts with this, they're like, okay, he likes this, yep, they're good, one check mark. And these algorithms are like, dude, I don't think that even the people at the social media companies fully understand them. We're at a point where AI, they're going into a black box situation where we feed the right numbers into it and it spits out and it's like, hey, everything's good, cool, we met our quota, we're getting more people on the platform, and then it's like, wait, what happened in that black box? We don't know, we have no idea, but everything's good, capitalism is still going, and we're like, more platform, more people listening, yay. And we don't understand that, you know, social media and the way the algorithms are making us act, and the way they're giving us things to think about that we never would have thought about before as a human species. They're changing literally who we are at the core. They're changing how we interact with one another. I mean, the whole politics craziness is very much because of the algorithm.
My mentality is too combative.
Hit me.
I mean, no, it's just too combative. Like, I have my own, I'd say my mindset is too strong to be persuaded and changed, manipulated.
Oh, so like sucked in by the algorithms?
I just can't even be a part of it. Even just like looking at like all of, just like every time I see something that is like purposely incited to create stress and likes and views, and just like anger and hate fuels so much emotion and energy and fear. And we are as a society, a warmongering, you know, nation, and have been since we started. And we found out that, you know, just like what gets Americans going the most, you know, and the passion. It was passion to move west, and passion to hold down the country, and passion. What do we have to be passionate about nowadays? You know, it's just like people, the entire reason and purpose for life is purpose itself. Like, we have to have some type of purpose, and we've come to a position in humanity where it is easy to just live. I mean, there's like, we can just be alive, you know what I mean? Like, there's everything that we need to sustain life. There's no real challenge anymore. What is the purpose? Like, I've come through that too. It's just like, I've been thinking about that for a while now. It's like, all right, you know, what is my purpose? You know, it's just like, a lot of this has come through deleting social media. I always try to have some type of goal or envision, because like, having some type of goal gives me purpose and gives me drive and motivation. And I feel like a lot of what you were just saying, what we feed ourselves, like in ingest, is a lot of who we are. So I only try to ingest positivity and motivation and this stuff, and be very careful of algorithms. But the majority of people aren't careful at all. They fall right into that hate trap, those clickbaits, you know, just like all of those rabbit holes. And then just anything that is designed to capture their attention, they just look at it like sheep. And I just like see the people and just regurgitating and fighting about stuff that doesn't even matter.
Yeah, they don't care about it. They don't actually care about it.
They care about it because everyone cares about it. And then all of a sudden tomorrow, this is not even a topic anymore, but you were so passionate about it yesterday. You're willing to fight someone. Now it doesn't even matter. Now you're on to the next thing. Like, people are going crazy and they don't even know it. People are flat out insane on Facebook. And they're just like so angry at nothing. It doesn't even matter what people are being angry about. Like, okay, politics, you're a regular average person. You want to do something about politics, get into Congress. Otherwise, you're just bitching about it. Like, I mean, it does nothing. You know, it's just like, you're wasting your time when you could be focusing on bettering your life or moving forward to something, or making a meaningful connection with someone like I'm doing with you right now. It's like, well, I could be fighting with someone on Facebook that means absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a waste of time.
Dude, I 100% agree. I totally agree. It really is. It's a happy pill almost, right? It's, you know, it's a, like, hey, you're going through it. You have real emotions. You have real things you got to go through. Like, things are hard. Oh, you want to make a connection with someone, but you're nervous. Oh, you're gonna have to like find a little courage. You're gonna have to fight that fear or your social anxiety and walk over to this person or send them a message, whatever. Yeah, just do it. Exactly. But we instead of doing what's hard, it's very easy to just grab our phone, man. Just grab our phone. Like, oh, I'm kind of feeling a little bit of sadness. Let's see what other people are doing. Oh, I forgot about the sadness. Oh, what did Trump do? Cool. I'm going to tweet at him, you know, whatever. Like, it's a distraction that we don't seem to notice is a distraction as a culture, as a society. Like, to me, I feel like the more that I kind of observe what's really going on with all the algorithms and our attention span and the things that we're arguing about, like you said, people are like, their veins popping out of their neck and their face is red and they're screaming at people. And then the next day they're like, they're just back at work. Like, dude, like you ain't that mad. You're caught by something. You're caught in a net almost. Like, I almost feel, the amount of people that are caught by our algorithms and our social media and things they don't actually care about it's way too high, and I feel bad for them, I guess. Like, I feel bad for them because I know how easy it can be. Yeah, because like they almost don't understand, that they don't know, they don't.
It's simply that they don't understand what's happening to them, and I cannot be a part of it. I cannot be manipulated like that. I can't. It stresses me out. And I'm someone, you know, we talked about at the very beginning of this, the meditation stuff and self-awareness and like self-love. Like, I'm very aware of my body, and like the exact moment that I'm stressed out, I remove myself from the situation, and I find out exactly why. There's like a book, I believe it was Emotional Intelligence. And it was like, this woman comes home and she goes into the kitchen and the husband didn't take out the trash, and she freaked out. And so she threw a dish and she went up and into the bathroom and she was crying and she was sitting there thinking about it. Why did she get so pissed off? It's not even that big of a deal. She was actually mad about something several days before that she didn't deal with and let go. And so she brought it up and she carried it with her and stuff. You know, it's just I kind of it's like people get caught up and they carry stuff with them and they don't let it go. And if you're constantly absorbed by that in social media, you know, like you're constantly carrying baggage from the next day earlier, and that you carry it throughout your whole entire day, it's going to stress you out. And I've like pinpoint that, like, why am I always upset about something? Like, oh, every single 5 minutes I'm looking at something that pisses me off.
Right.
You know?
No, it's just like, dude, it's actually, think about what you were saying earlier about your house. Like, you wanted to manifest your house, so you put a picture of it over here, you put a picture on your phone, you put a picture here. It's in your conscious experience all the time, so it's what you're thinking about. And the same thing can be said for social media. Like, if every morning you wake up and the first thing that you read is,
anger.
Hey, your team's the good one and these guys are the enemy, here's a video of why they're the enemy. You know, like
they're receiving the same video.
Yeah. Or they're receiving the same video with an opposite or a different camera lens basically painted to make the other person look bad. You know, it's not actually true things. It's the algorithm, not just the algorithm. The algorithm is at this point making the people who are reporting these things act in different ways too. But dude, I think that's really good though. I like how, you know, vigilant you seem to be at, like, not allowing, putting up good boundaries and like knowing this is good for me, so I'm going to focus on this. Like, I don't have time for this shit. It's not good for my future. I know that it's unhealthy. It doesn't work for me. It's not part of who I am anymore. It's not part of what I'm going to do. Dude, your vigilance seems to be very impressive. Do you, when it comes to the words self-love, what do you think about? Because that is something, if you asked me, say 4 years ago, what, like, Jake, self-love, I would probably make like some corny joke and I would make fun of people who talk about love or something. Like, I've changed a lot in the last, 3 years or so. Not that I thought love was corny or anything before, but these things I couldn't take serious. So my way of reacting to them would be joking. So teaching people about self-love now and how that can mean something, especially as males, I think is something that we don't incredibly look into. The word self-love, Ryan, like what comes up for you? What does it mean to you now?
You can't love anyone else until you truly love yourself. You just can't. You can't give that same energy. You know, it's like carrying emotional baggage from one relationship to another. It's like you have to take time to learn how to love yourself and to be okay with who you are and to forgive yourself for what you've done and just, let everything go. And the moment that you can let everything go and just be okay with who you are and love yourself, the moment that you take the first step towards real, true happiness. It's like if you get up and in the morning you say, I am a good person. I love myself. I'm deserving. And you just say these things to yourself every morning and every night. And the thing is, like, kind of like what you ingest. That's what you're telling yourself every single day. You're hearing it. You're making it a habit to be loving towards yourself, and you believe it. You know what I mean? So like if you say it you could think it all you want, but if you say it out loud, be like, I am a good person. People love me. You say that out loud and then you believe it after a while. And then the same thing goes for destructive thoughts too, though. Like if you say, and it's like a lot of things, but I don't know if you've ever heard of Toltec wisdom, but they believe a lot of heaven and hell is on earth. So like if someone can carry hell with them by thinking, if someone says, for instance, Jacob, you're stupid. And you think about that and you hold it with yourself and you think, you know what, maybe I am stupid. They gave you hell and you accepted hell. Now you're living in hell as you are a stupid person. And humans are the only creatures on earth that relive a problem or trauma experience or a mistake 1,000 times over. We live in the hell. And a lot of things go with Facebook that you're reminded of that mistake over and over again. Once a year, it pops up in your memories, you know, just like you're constantly in hell, you know, it's there. No one's ever just like showing love and giving love in every direction. You're not giving your heaven towards everything. So it's like you need to give that to yourself and surround yourself with that. Give yourself heaven and peace. You know, it's just like just only putting in good thoughts to yourself, and then knowing that anyone else's opinion is literally just an opinion. It's not your own. That is a part of self-love. So anyone calls you, you know, if someone else tells you something that is like giving you hell, or someone who's negative towards me or tries to bash me down or try to like use one of my videos against me on social media, guess what? I'm just gonna block you completely. I'm not even gonna give you a second chance. Like, right. You want to be a part of my positivity and my mission? I love myself. You can choose to be along for the ride, or you can choose to hear about me. You know what I mean? So that's part of self-love and keeping my identity of who I am too. It's like, you accept me or not, you know, be away from me. I don't even care about who you are. You know, it's like, I feel confident in myself and I love myself. So it should be a privilege for people to be able to be a part of my group and my energy. You know what I mean? I don't give out myself to everyone and share my energy and my positivity with everyone, because a lot of people can't handle it. Just like you're saying, if you were saying, you know, what is self-love 4 years ago, you would have like laughed it off and stuff like that. Okay, maybe you're not ready for it, and then you're going to give pushback and you're going to hate me for it because of the fact that I'm happy, you know, it makes you uncomfortable. That's not my problem. You know what I mean? So it's like, I'm on my mission. I'm on my goal. I'm going to meet people such as you today when we're ready to meet. Maybe 4 years ago, neither of us were ready to be friends or collide in paths, but that's the energy making that full circle. You know, it's like, it all comes down to just, you know, everything from letting go to the Facebook to all of it towards moving forward, and happiness comes down to self-love.
Yeah. Damn, dude, that was super good. All the heavens, all the hells are within you. I like what you said about heaven and hell. It reminds me of this. There's a story that's it's been retold. I mean, I've heard Ram Dass tell it. I heard Mike Posner had a variation of it. It's basically there's I'll tell the version that Mike Posner told. Mike Posner's an artist and he does some spoken word. I'm sure you've heard of Mike Posner. But he basically,
I'm actually really not good with names at all. I've probably seen his face and heard stuff, but just saying a name, I'm just like, I don't know.
Oh yeah, he writes that song, "I Took a Pill in Ibiza." So
okay.
Vici thing was cool, whatever. But anyway, so he makes spoken word poetry. It's very good. He retold this story though about heaven and hell. There was a soldier in Afghanistan. He was stationed, and he was drinking a lot. He's going through it, but he kept hearing from everybody. There's everybody in the town that he was stationed at. Like, they kept saying, "There's this boy. It's a magical boy. Like, he's sitting under the tree." And he kept hearing about it, and he's pissed off. And he's like, "What is everybody talking about this boy? Whatever." And then finally one day he's having some drinks, and he's like, "Oh fuck it, I'm gonna go see this boy." All right, and so he goes to the townspeople, and he finds out where the boy is. And sure enough, he's walking up. He sees the tree. There's this young boy meditating, and he walks up to the boy, and he comes up and he says, "You're not so special. Like, if you're so special, why is everybody saying you're magic? Like, what do you know about magic? If you're so magic, teach me about heaven and hell." And the boy, opens his eyes, and he looks up at the soldier, and he says, "Teach you about heaven and hell? Teach you about heaven and hell? You're drunk. You stink. You're not a good soldier. What are you doing here?" And the guy, he gets mad, and he's like, he freaks out. He's like, "What do you know? What do you know?" And he takes his gun and he points it at the boy. And he's mad, and his veins are popping out of his throat, and he's angry. And the boy looks at him softly and says, "That's hell." And the man sees that the boy has just risked his life to teach him about hell. And the man starts sobbing. The soldier starts sobbing. And the boy says, "That's heaven." And that's I don't know the exact name of the story, but it's been retold. And it really is, when I first heard it, it was really powerful to me, because
That's powerful.
The heaven and hells are really within us, man. You know,
Yeah,
they
absolutely.
really are. They really are within us. And I think that with things like social media, they're not only within us, but they can like really be. They can be other people's hells can be transferred in the blink of an eye. You know, like someone's hell can be posted online, and then suddenly someone else is reading it, and you know they're in their hell now. So I think it's you've got to be agile. You've got to be like you've almost got to be swatting away, man. You got to be fruit slicing away this hell, this negativity, these curses that other people are given, and you can't just take what's handed to you. You can't just take what the algorithms are given to you. You can't just take what's on your social media.
Especially if you've been upset and you've lived in this personal hell for a long time, you are more susceptible towards accepting other people's. You know what I mean? Because you're used to it, you're conditioned to it. So it's just like, as a person who had a troubled past and used to live in my own personal hell for a long time, I'm very sensitive towards negativity. I mean, I absorb it and it throws me off, and I personally get angry really quick when other people are angry around me. And I know that, like, I know myself, I cannot be around negativity. It throws me off big time, huge energy shift. I like have to put myself in a positive situation, or I cannot be in that situation. And it's just a part of who I am. That's why I'm so aware about it.
Yeah, dude, I resonate with that too. I feel like now I'm a bit better at it. I'm kind of more on my chi. I'm more on my, you know, I'll even occasionally do visualizations of kind of like a, you know, some sort of energy bubble around me that like helps me stick to what I'm actually feeling when others around me are getting, you know, angry or negative or violent. Like I don't get caught into it immediately as much. But I think that some form of, man, it's interesting because we want to relate with other people so much that sometimes we don't see when we're doing that.
Yeah.
We don't see when we're like, we're chiming in just so we can like avoid conflict and not have to like explain who we are. And then also we just like, we want to be a part of this thing. It's like, you know, in high school, the popular kids are talking shit about someone else and you're just like along with them, adding in your little 2 cents, you know. It's
Speaking of adding in 2 cents, I really appreciate this conversation.
cool,
you know what I mean? Like, it's not every day you can just sit there and just flat out have like a full-on conversation, like in depth about the world with someone. I was like, I hate small talk. It's rough. I don't talk to a lot of people. I mean, I don't like to bash certain people or names, but I'm usually surrounded in, especially since I lived in Longview, you know, from a bigger city, coming down to this small little mill town. This is the entire world here. And it's just like, they have not been exposed to anything really. And everyone's so small and closed-minded, and there's not much to talk about. Not everyone has a huge opinion about literally anything. I mean, so this is really refreshing. I just wanted to say once again that I appreciate this, and everyone was right. I should have fucking came on to this podcast, man. Having a good time.
Cool. That's super sweet of you, Ryan. Thank you, bro. Yeah, I'm glad. I'm having a great time too. I'm totally agreeing with whoever recommended that we link up, because I feel like we have a lot of similar experiences. And you know, that's for me, like I said at the beginning, like the power of conversation, you know, because like look, I'm doing a podcast, like and if you want to be like, oh, everybody's got a podcast nowadays, or everybody's doing whatever, and it's like, I'm not trying to do that. I'm trying to. It's almost like I'm not even trying. This thing feels so natural to me because it does feel so important to me to be able to have just positively framed conversations. Like, because to me, I also hate small talk. And sometimes as I'm having small talk, I'm just sitting there inside and I'm like, why the fuck are we talking about this? Like,
I've
this
had
is
this
driving me crazy.
conversation 3,000 times.
Yeah. Or dude, okay, here you go. Somebody will meet me. Oh, your name's Jake? Do you work at State Farm? I'm like, I gotta fucking hit the fucking. I just and I get it. It's
I just feel like, yes, I do.
Yeah, I do.
Just throw them
do work
off.
at State Farm.
Yeah, I actually do work at State Farm.
It ain't even about. Yeah, I literally do. Like, if you need insurance, just let me know. I mean, but it's not so much about like, listen, like small talk isn't something that people should feel guilty about. They shouldn't like be down on themselves about it. It really. There is a lot of aspects. Like, I can't just at all times. I can't expect people to be ready to talk about the universe and like the complexities of being a human and like, so what do you think consciousness is? And they're like, dude, I'm just like, can I get by you to go to the bathroom? You know, like I don't really want to talk about this in-depth thing. So I just, yeah, I'm glad that you are able to like, you know, come to this level of conversation and fit so naturally into it, because it's kind of just how I try to frame a lot of conversations. You know, like I'm not always a super energetic, like happy guy. You know, I'm actually kind of an introverted person, but in this environment, this, you know, comfortable, like vulnerable space that can be created through a podcast conversation, I think you get the better side of people, man. Like if you just give people a chance to talk and, you know, like we could be wasting our time not talking about what we've learned in life. We could be talking about, Kim Kardashian and Kanye West just split up or something, or divorced or whatever, according to what I've seen on Snapchat. Like you don't really get anywhere. You're just kind of repeating other people's life drama a lot of the times, or you're just kind of saying the same catchphrases. In this, like I get value out of these conversations. Like I'm going to leave this conversation and be a changed person. I'm going to learn something from this interaction with you.
You ever like spend a lot of time on Facebook or Instagram and stuff, and then someone like goes to talk about something and it's a video or something and you've seen it and you could relate with them? I hate that. Like that is my least favorite thing, because like I'm permanently unimpressed. You know what I mean? Like you're not telling me, you send me a meme or something like that, I've seen it already. I've seen that video. And it's just like a constant state of, all right, you're not telling me anything new. We're not talking about anything new. It's like, we're talking about the same things we've seen. There's no, I have this conversation with a lot of people, like, you know, like I want to sit there and talk about like, you know, your views about the world, not like politics, but like the entire world. Like, what are your dreams? What are your aspirations? What motivates you? Like, that's the shit that I like to talk about. I don't like to like, hey, do you see this on TikTok? Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yes, yeah.
It's uninteresting. Yeah.
I'm not interested. I can just look on TikTok and see that. I don't know. Someone wants to send me. I did this. I have a really good friend. He likes to send me memes sometimes, but I'm following the same thing. And like, he sends it because he thinks it's funny. And I'm just like permanently like, you know, unimpressed on what he's sending me because I've already seen it. So I was like, you know what? You're a really good friend to me, man. I'm going to unfollow these meme pages so you can start impressing me and making me laugh again. You know, I'm going to do that for you. So
yeah. I actually like that. That's actually a cool idea. I didn't think that's where you're going to go with that. I thought you were going to say that like you told him to stop sending you memes or something, but
no.
I like that, dude. That's cool. You like leave it open. And so now when you do see that stuff, it does catch you, and it probably does make you laugh more than it did before.
Yeah, I'm laughing at it for the first time. That's like one thing that I do like not having about Facebook too, is like I'm not in the loop, and so people have something to talk about that I don't know about. You know, if I'm interested, then I can choose to listen to it. Otherwise, I could filter through their garbage. But with everyone is talking about, I'm impressed for the first time. So it's actually like opening up people to be able to talk and feel like they're teaching me something too. So there's a positive from it.
Right. Yeah, I like that, man. Dude, social media is
everyone's the same person.
Yeah,
there's no individuals anymore, and that's why it's harder to have, your own opinions about everything, because it's literally everyone's opinion. I mean, how are you going to have your own opinions when you're just cycling through the same garbage everyone else is, and that's all you see and hear and ingest?
Yeah.
That's why I completely dissociating myself from the most of society and becoming an introvert when I used to be a huge outrovert. You know, it's just like I have nothing in common with anyone anymore because I just don't care about what's going on in the world, really.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's
what
the
am
thing
I going to do about it?
Yeah. You realize that people often meet, you know, not as themselves, not as what they really want to communicate, because what the realness of themselves is it's so buried underneath like the things they've been reading all day, or in all the memes that they saw and all the whatever. Like, I don't know. It's difficult because there is joy. If our civilization, if our country is going to be like medicated in lethargic, and like that's just what we do, is we go to our 9 to 5s, and then we like just on our break we're on our phones, and then we get off and we're on our phones, and in the mornings we're on our phones.
Talking
like there's part
to
of
people
me
all the day on your phone. Like, why would you want to have a conversation with anyone else? You've been talking to people all day.
Yeah, it drains you, man. And it's like you're almost looking for, it's such a dopamine like brain hack, this phone, that you're reading something funny, like you'll literally think about, we literally will put laughing my ass off or laugh out loud is the most normal thing ever. I mean, I do it, but you're not laughing out loud. You're not laughing your ass off. You're not laughing. Like, we've got this condensed version of how life really is. We're pretending that we're getting genuine joy from just kind of having a chuckle. And I don't know. I mean, like, there's a balance to it. I don't want to like hate on anybody who's getting some, you know, maybe they work a shitty job and they just kind of want to like check out for a half hour and then get off and laugh at some funny memes. Like, cool, man. I feel that, but I do feel what I wish for, you know, people that I love and my friends and in my listeners is like, don't fucking waste your life on social media. Don't waste your life laughing at funny memes. There's just so much more valiantly beautiful, open experiences to life. Like, seriously, man, start reading philosophy, start learning some cool science, start exploring like what it means, like read a Stoic book, read a Buddhist book, like learn archery. There's so many things you could spend your time on and dive into little interests that will change who you are at your core and level you up to be the person to handle the next stage in your life, rather than just getting a little laugh from a meme, you know?
I agree 100%.
Yeah.
Absolutely, man. Yeah.
I think I don't know. It's a hard one to navigate. I get worried that we're slowly falling into being what they depicted on the movie WALL-E, the Disney movie, or the Pixar movie WALL-E, where they're all just kind of like sitting in chairs and they have their screens in front of them and they float along and they're like, this is the most popular new color, and it changes all their jumpsuits into blue or red or whatnot.
Jake, you probably have a lot of people talking about themselves on here. Where do you see yourself in the future? Like, what are some of what are some of your goals and aspirations? Where do you want to be in like 5 to 10 years?
That's sweet of you to ask, Ryan. You know, as much as I wish that I could give you like, oh, I wrote my exact goals this morning and I know exactly what I want to do, as much as I wish that I could lay that out for you, I don't. I'm at this point.
Did something for you then, because now you're going to think about it.
Yeah. See, you're a starter.
But next time someone asks you, you should have that like ingrained.
That's true, man. Actually, yeah, you're right on that. I'm gonna contemplate that more.
It should be easy.
Yeah. Well, so my thing, here's my excuse, right? Here's listen to me justify
It's an excuse.
Yeah. So
it's an excuse, man. Like, envision your goals and have them down and just like obsess about like the next step. That's how like you create real passion and purpose in your life.
Right.
It is, dude. And if you can answer that question, what is my 5 to 10 year goal, right off the top of your head, man, it's like that you're just so much more motivated because it's already on your mind. Mm-hmm. You know, like I want to have like another podcast with you or something. Then I'll ask you that question again.
I better be on top of my shit.
And you'll have it for me.
Yeah. Well, okay, look, man, again, like I said, this is some sort of justification. So there's excuses sprinkled on this part here. So I'm aware of that. But I've been through so many profound changes. COVID really, again, I feel like I'm blaming something already. COVID changed a lot of what I'm doing. You know, I got my audio engineering degree. I was DJing more and more. I was at this point where I'm like, shit, I can enjoy my job. I can make good money. Like, I can wake up every day not hating my job. Like, I think I'm finally like kind of going towards something that seems good for me. And so I was leaning into that, and then live events went away. So things changed. And then my last relationship, like, we were together for 10 years, and that's still like fairly, you know, a few months back we split up. And so I'm still kind of like getting my feet under me in a sense, and really trying to project myself out and be like, where do I, like that's a question I guess I do ask myself, but I don't have a solid answer for. It's like, where do I see myself? Because I'm just projecting towards different areas. I will say, I'm doing some yoga teacher training right now. Yoga is pretty profound. I think I could see myself doing some very. I would love to help heal people with yoga and meditation, and all the things I learn about the mind and psychology. I would love to help people with trauma and that sort of thing. And then also, man, this fucking podcast, like, it doesn't make, obviously money wise, like, it doesn't make me money right now. It's like, it's just something that's such a passionate project for me. This seems like something that I could
you
be
love
doing.
to do.
Yeah, and it's fulfilling in this weird way. Like, I don't want to make it seem like a bigger deal than it is. I know that a lot of people have a podcast, but to me, I really do feel good about myself after I do these conversations, and I'll get messages from motherfuckers. Like, I literally will get messages from
other people too, just like what you said about the yoga.
Yeah, I want to help people. I want to make people feel joy, but I don't want it to be fickle. Like, I don't want it to I don't want it to be another thing that people get a little giggle from the meme that I posted as they're scrolling through, and they go like, I want to make, you know, profound difference in point people at themselves to where they can love themselves. So I don't know exactly what that looks like. You know, I'm looking forward to in the future giving you a solid answer on this, man.
But you're doing it, you know what I mean? Just like the first step, like, that's awesome. And I really enjoy being on this podcast right now, man. I think it's awesome. I think you're a good person to talk to, and I see it going somewhere. Just like, it's really easy to talk to you, just like you were saying earlier. I thought I would reaffirm that to you.
Man, yeah, that's very nice of you, bro. I appreciate that. That's what I want to do. I want to create this term is overused now, like a safe space, a place where people feel like they can take their fucking armor off before they join the conversation, and just like show up and like, let's just be humans. And like the human that's staring across from you, like, I'm a flawed man. I've made many mistakes. I'm very far from perfect. I'm still working on myself. As far as even being a podcast host, like you mentioned ADHD, it's something that I struggle with. Being able to stay on the same subject or keep the flow of a conversation has been something I've had to learn, something that I'm still not always super good at. Some days my brain's just fucked, but you're always learning, you know, like, this is something that if I perfect a little bit every day, every episode that I have, if I get a little bit better, if every day I feed my mind positive content, every day I read a little bit from what I want to be learning. I imagine by the time I'm, 50, 60 years old, I'm going to be able to like really know some shit about this world, and maybe be able to give some advice to people who really need it. So I think that's a good thing to lean into.
Right on, man.
Yeah.
Same here. It's like life is one big experience. It's a hell of a ride. It is. And you never know what's going to happen day to day. You have no clue.
Yeah.
You know, just like, it is what it is kind of at this point.
Yeah, dude.
I don't know.
Yeah, you got to let yourself almost be humble and just really admit that, like, I don't know where I don't know where this life is going to take me. But if you can sharpen the tools to where whatever comes at you, you're prepared for, like it's kind of like anxiety, depression, that sort of thing. I don't think that you can always completely get rid of it, like where you're never going to experience again. Like, I don't think that there's a place where you're going to get to and you solved all your problems and you're like, I don't ever feel sadness anymore because I cured that side of me. No, man, you're a human. You're going to experience loss. You're going to experience tragedy. But if you can
learn how to deal with it,
learn how to deal with it.
Yeah. Learn how to just accept it and let it go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yes. Then you can move forward. I'm all about that, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Where do you see yourself in 10 years?
Well, ultimately, I set a goal to be retired within 10 years. I mean, it may not happen, but you know, as Elon Musk said, Elon Musk, my hero.
Oh, fist bump to you, bro.
As soon as you walk in my door, I have a portrait of him, like, you know, a shrine of Elon Musk. Like when you walk in the door, like that's what you see. But he said, if you give I'm going to take him out of context because I don't remember the exact quote, but like if you give yourself, you know, a week to clean your room, it's going to take a week. You give yourself an hour, it's going to take an hour. You know what I mean? So I have my goal to be retired and not doing anything but what I want to do. And you know what? Maybe it might take longer than that, but it's going to be a hell of a lot sooner if I have a shorter of a timeline. You know what I mean? So I have like, I know I want to start a business. How soon? I don't know. It's a goal of mine. I'm going to try to make it sooner than later. And I want to, you know, autonomize, and I want to have property, and I want to get, you know, a long-term generational income through trees. And it's like, I want to have just a spot where I can have everything just, you know, autonomized, and I can just be relaxed and not have to worry about, you know, anything but what I love. And ultimately, I can beatbox, and I can, you know, go hiking, and I could just do anything that my heart desires without worrying about having to go to work the next day. That is my goal in 10 years. I don't care how it happens, what I have to do. It all comes down to my morning motivations and having pictures of it on my screens and my cell phone and being reminded of it, and just like making my everyday my next step. What is my very next step towards making this happen? It's just what my day revolves around. How's this day going to put me one day closer towards that 10-year mark? You know?
Yeah, that's huge, man. Well, I truly wish that for you, man. I think that's perfect how it goes. I think when you kind of see that quote from Elon is so perfect. When you kind of see the world as a almost like a game of like, all right, here's the ending. Like, I know where I want to be. Like, let's just admit to myself, like, where I want to be. Cool, done. Now, what are the levels? What are the stages? What are the things I need to do? What are the equations that I need to solve to get to this? You know, and what it takes is like, you got to get your mind right. So you got to wake up every day and get your motivation, you know, and you do have to put like bumpers on your life, like bowling bumpers, you know, like to where if you're floating off and you're like, oh, I've been looking at memes for a couple days, or I made a Facebook account and I've been arguing with my aunt again. Oh shit. Okay. I got to get my bumper back up and get back on track, you know? So,
a lot of, you know, video games.
Video games.
Video games are huge. What?
Do you play games? Do they suck
you
in, or? Yeah.
Oh, I'm huge into video games, but video games are actually so incredibly healthy towards that. I mean, people may think that, you know, they're a waste of time and stuff, but they're all about goals and missions, you know, for the most part. What's the next, you know, like, what do I have to do to progress to the next tier? How do I get this reward? You know, and you go and you grind for a long time, and you finally get like this piece of gear or this weapon, or, you know, this next stage or this research. And it's just like, if you apply that to your life, like right now you're just in the grinding stage, you know, and then you level up a little bit, and you see that the problems get more complex and harder, but everything up to that point is way easier. You've already been through it. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's just like the progression of life is exactly like a strategic video game.
Yeah. Dude, yeah, that's great. I feel like you just summarized what I was trying to say even better than I could. That was wonderful because, you know, at the beginning of the game when you're first trying to learn the tutorials, you can't go fight the final boss. He'll fuck you up, man. He'll kill you. So like
exactly.
you got to learn, like you're only at the bottom levels right now. You got to quite literally level up. And I think, dude, if you see life like that, it's like Ram Dass, he has some crazy stories. Ram Dass is a spiritual teacher who used to be a psychologist. He basically got fired by taking LSD with Timothy Leary way back in the day. But he has this thing where he has a story where he talks to this other entity through someone who's channeled it. It's pretty psychedelic stuff, but the message he brings back from it is you're on Earth to take the you're on Earth to take the curriculum of being human. Why don't you go to class? And it's like, wow, you know, like you could let life happen to you, or you can have life happening for you. Like everything that happens is okay. This must be like the little mini boss before I get to the big boss of this stage. This must be, oh, I had to solve this little quest with this person because it gave me the armor that I need to get to the next level and fight that boss or whatever it is. You know, you could really start to see life as dude, everything that's happening to you, you just got to be like, what do I learn from this? What do I learn from this? How is this preparing me for the next stage in my life, you know?
And then there's a lot of people like stick to the main story mode. Yeah, and they progress in life faster, like, you know, the main quest. You get straight A's, go to college, get your good job, you get your family, you look good on Instagram with your family, you retire and die. You're missing all of your side quests. You're not living, you're not playing the full game. You're just streamlining, you know what I mean? And that's why a lot of people can get depressed and stuff too, like, or they get straight to the end goal. They have all of the money and all the success, but they have literally no life experience, and they're not truly cultured or you know, experienced or truly like happy people, you know? So I feel like a lot of the hardships in life are excellent lessons and stepping stones towards a full circle and being cultured in your life, you know?
Yeah. 100%, man. I love that. You got to take the side roads too. You got to take the bonus rounds. You got to like go down the, what is it like in Mario? You know, you got to go down the green pipes occasionally. You got to just see if you can go down that one, and then you get a couple extra coins down there, bro. Like, don't miss out on the extra coins.
It's gonna take longer to finish the game, but you know, there's more to experience that way.
Yeah. Well, and it's, I mean, that's the thing, you know, with a video game, you get to an ending screen, you get to like you did it, whatever. And, you know, everybody's beat a game and you're like, huh, well, okay, I guess I'm done with that game. Like, it's not like you reach enlightenment at the end of a video game, you know, and in the end of life, it's not like you get to where you're 60, 70, 80, 90, whatever it is years old. And you're like, I've learned how to never feel sadness again. I've done everything. I arrived at a location. It's like life is the dance, you know, life is the in-between, is the journey. It's not the arrival of actually getting somewhere. So as much as you got to set some goals, you got to set some, like, you can't just let yourself jump all around. You got to kind of give yourself those bumpers. And sometimes, like what you're doing, you got to like really almost like choose your goal and really start running at it. Like know what stage you're at. Like, here's what I want to do by the time I'm this old. So let me set the stage there. But I don't know. There's no arrival with life.
Have you seen the videos of like those, like, these are these 90-year-old people, and they have like a sign like, tell them your experience in life and how to you know, get into old age, and they just like hold up a sign and just says smile, you know, or just like they're just like 5 of them in a row, like smile, be happy, you know, just like that's all you have to say in your 90 years of life. I'm almost offended. Like, why don't you have more wisdom? Like, what did you not do anything? Like, that's all you have? Just smile? I mean, I guess that's good advice to be happy, to get you in the good age, but I mean, old age. But I mean, like, do you do nothing else? This is your moment to shine, and you just Smile?
Like we're asking you the most
Like-
important question ever, and your answer is smile?
Your entire life and your entire existence and all the side roads you've taken to get to where you're at, and that's all you have to say.
You know what's gonna be funny, bro, is we're gonna get to where we're 70 years old and we're gonna be like, fuck, damn, smile was the answer. Like we're gonna understand.
I should have just smiled more.
Dang it. It really was that simple. I was trying to overcomplicate it.
I mean, I'm not dismissing it.
No,
I'm not.
yeah.
Maybe, and I was sitting there I was talking to my friend the other day. I was like, you know, as much as that pisses me off, you know, like, what if that's just it? You know, what if that's just smile, you know, like I'll become 9 years old one day.
And you're just gonna be laughing and smiling. People are like, what? Like, what did he figure out? Like he got enlightened because he just learned to smile.
Yeah, I don't even talk anymore.
Sounds ideal. Dude, you know, that's I listen to a lot of one of my favorite apps, Waking Up by Sam Harris, and he has a lot of like lectures or like little, you know, clips about theory or whatever, and there's literally one that I listen to often, and it's the meaning of life. And it's not like he's trying to convince you like he's found the meaning of life, but he's basically talking about how, you know, kind of what I was just saying, you know, you don't really arrive at a place where you're never feeling any downfalls. You don't really arrive at a place where you're completely happy and you'll never have a bad experience, or you're never going to feel sadness, or you're never going to have loss again. Like, you know, to love someone means that you risk losing them and feeling the loss of that love. So I think when we're thinking about our meaning of life, that's something that in our modern society, we don't ever stop the momentum of our craziness to even slow down and be like, what am I doing? Like, what do I want? What do I want to experience? Like, oh yeah, I'm going to die. Like, that's actually a pretty big deal. What do I want to experience? Because we almost live as if this thing is unlimited. We live as if this is like, we're going to eventually have the chance to do whatever we want, whenever we want. But the fact of the matter is we do leave this earth, you know, there's an ending. So it's like, while you're here, you know, absorb it and find reasons to make you smile, I guess. Like
a lot of people get
here.
so caught up in the fact that life will end that they don't live too. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You think like it becomes like a sticky, stuck thought, like it almost debilitates them, you think, thinking about death? Or
I mean, just like, it's a pretty heavy thought, you know, just like that one day your life will end. And, you know, a lot of people lose hope, especially with, it goes back to what I was saying earlier, like purpose, having a purpose. A lot of people used to flock to religion, and now religion entirely is starting to fade away, and people are losing faith and hope and etc. And I'm not a religious person. I kind of gave my views on heaven and hell earlier. But I think a lot of people need that. It's, you know, like you see like a lot of alcoholics and drug addicts and stuff, they turn to religion because it's an excellent crutch of hope and purpose. You know, like, this is what is going to, you know, turn my life around. I'm going to take on this new mindset and believe in this person because I don't believe in myself. A lot of people are losing that these days, and they don't have that within themselves, you know? So it's kind of something that people are not really enjoying their life because they don't necessarily have, you know, the meaning to live, like an actual, like, true purpose. Like, what is their purpose? It's not something that people think about anymore. You know, when people go to like church several times, you know, a week, it's like, all right, their purpose is to be a good person and to serve, you know, there's religion and stuff. You don't have something. We are naturally, as a culture, since the beginning of time, a tribe mentality, and we serve a purpose towards bettering humanity and bettering our tribe and everything like that. Back to the very beginning of our conversation, we have reached a level in humanity where we're self-sustaining and there's literally nothing else for us to do. You know, it's like now it's completely out of our hands and all technology. Like the average person isn't just going to pick up you know, just like, oh, I'm going to create a supercomputer out of absolutely nothing today and fly to the moon. I don't know. It's just like, not something that we can really create. We could create an app or, you know, something like that, but it's like, it's almost all been done, you know what I mean?
Right.
But like, sure we get surprised with new things and new ways to reinvent things, but I mean, just like we've basically, you know, covered the entire earth. We're the dominant, and it's like, what do we do now? And people are losing a lot of people are losing sight and becoming depressed and feeding to Facebook and stuff like that to blind them throughout life, you know, and not really going out and just be like, I'm thankful being alive, you know, I'm just going to go outside and just enjoy the weather, you know, go for a walk or go for a hike and stuff. A lot of people are just, you know, staying inside, going to their 9-to-5 jobs, looking at their phone, playing a game. You know, they're not really living anymore. That's like, especially through COVID, people are just staying completely indoors and not doing anything. I mean, if you go to like hiking or, you know, somewhere that used to be public or people were living, they're just dead zones now, you know? I mean, sure, it's really nice for the avid hiker to go out and hike and it's not completely populated, but yeah.
Yeah. Dude, yeah, I agree. I think that maybe like not just social media, but maybe like the shift in culture that social media and I guess just the internet and our constant connectivity brings us is almost filling a spot of religion in a certain way. But I don't know. I do think that what we do nowadays, I think that we throw the baby out with the bathwater when it comes to religion and spiritual stuff, because we you know back then, the way that a human being learned about like their interior psychological like the workings of their mind, the human behavior, our like getting in touch with our intuition, whatever that might mean, like learning about our emotions, learning about our relationships with others. The way we were learned that, like that whole very important human real stuff, has been religion, like through religious experiences. Not that everybody for all of time was always religious. You know, there's always been, you know, outliers and people who didn't believe. But I think that we are at a place where, you know, Nietzsche says God's dead, you know, in the last couple hundred years or whatever, we are experiencing that, and we're trying to live with, okay, we got rid of this religion stuff because we kind of learned more about it. We kind of started asking questions. We kind of started wondering like, oh, maybe that doesn't make total sense. Maybe this doesn't make sense. It just doesn't feel right, whatever. But I think that there's powerful life lessons about like the human psyche, the human mind, the consciousness that we're all experiencing to be found in those religious texts, in those spiritual readings, in the wisdom of you know, like even philosophers. I guess that's not completely religious, but I think that we do need to, our society needs to somehow discover more about the true essence of the human psychological bag of meat here, you know? I think we like I said, we've thrown out the baby with the bathwater. And we don't interact with a lot of these religious things. What we should be doing at this point is saying, all right, we know so much information. We're very fucking smart. We have a lot of technology. There's very smart people that we can connect to and create new ideas. What was good from religion? Like what were good things that we learned? Cool. Let's mine those. Let's take those out. And then let's add them. What's good from technology? Cool. Let's mine those. Let's take those out. And then you start creating something new, a new way of living on this planet as a species, as a human culture, as a human civilization. And I don't know.
So one thing I really like about Elon Musk, going back to him again,
yes,
he's trying to colonize Mars, you know, he's giving, you know, like we gave up on space exploration for a long time. Like it was decades since the last time they shot up, you know, a rocket into space to go to a different planet. And, you know, specifically try to do anything with Mars. And he's trying to make it, we're colonized up there, you know, like, I don't know if he's necessarily planning on terraforming, but definitely trying to get people up there. And he's giving humanity a mission again, You
Yes.
know,
Yes.
that's something that we can all, the space race is back on. You know, humanity as a whole is as as a mission. And if everyone feels like maybe the world is going to come to an end because of what we've done here and it's maybe irreversible, I feel like, you know, if that was a reality and people are starting to try to colonize another planet because of, I mean, that's a huge amount of purpose that he's creating for everyone, you
Dude,
know?
yeah.
If he can, like, all right, I'm dedicating my life towards the betterment of humanity, and I want you guys to know this. I'm going to do it without, you know, with or without you, and you could choose to be a part of my mission or not. It's like there's a lot of people like, fuck it, I've got nothing else, you know, that I'm passionate about. Let's go to Mars, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, let's go to Mars. I mean, it is pretty wild, dude. Like I think what he's doing. Sometimes I have good friends who don't really care for him or that, but
Me too.
I'm like, and it's so weird to me because I'm like, don't you see how profound like what he's doing is doing? The fact that
It's
he's
offensive to people who don't want to think about it.
yeah, man. It's like we if say one of my favorite sayings like for myself is easily inspired. I'm easily inspired, and he inspires me in ways that are like unknown. I mean, basically what he's doing, we think it's like, oh, he's trying to be the first one in space, he's trying to be the whatever. Kind of what he's doing is reminding motherfuckers that we can go to space. Like, hey guys, you can do, like, you can build a rocket. Like, just make a lot of money and you can build a rocket. And I think now we have a lot of young people whose heads are turning, man. They're like, oh yeah, I don't have to get permission from the government in all these ways. I mean, I'm sure you do in all
Oh
the
yeah.
details, but like we've got to not
They don't
just
have to, they don't have to go through all this school and get doctorates and masters and stuff to become an astronaut, to go through this whole entire program to possibly
exactly.
make into it. They can just build a business and then build their own rocket.
Yeah. Dude, I mean, that's an important thing. That really changes like the momentum of where humans are going. And I think Elon, I mean, thinking what the name Elon Musk will be in 30 years, like what we'll be able to say he
Imagine him
has
in a
done for us.
textbook in 100 years. What they're going to say about this man?
That'll be wild. I hope we're not
Yeah.
using textbooks in 100 years.
Oh man, I didn't even think about that. It's gross.
Our floating holograms in front of us that we call textbooks. I mean,
It's like, oh, this is Elon. Okay.
yeah, you suddenly just like, oh, I know everything about Elon Musk. Cool. That's how it's gonna work. But dude, I totally agree. I'm 100% team Elon. I think what he does for humanity, the way that he inspires.
Hey, you got a NASA shirt on, and I didn't even put two together. You're all about it.
I'm all about it, man. I'm all about space and aliens and space exploration and you know, the betterment and the continuation of humanity.
You're gonna listen to this again and go over it, and so I'm gonna say it so you can remember it. The video game Dyson Sphere program. It's on Steam. It's literally everything that you're saying right now.
Is it?
Oh yeah. Yep. You start off on a planet, you mine stuff. Next thing you're building roads. Next thing you're building particle colliders for deuterium for space travel and warping to go to other planets and solar systems. And then you colonize the entire galaxy as a mining operation to fuel Dyson spheres, which are actually a real thing. It's like this game teaches you a lot about space and quantum physics and how to like get to those points from A to Z, and everything about it's hugely intellectual and genius. And I think that you'd really like it if you like video games and you like space.
Yeah, damn, that sounds interesting. I have to check that out. I'm not huge on gaming, but I love the concept of that. I think that's worth checking out. I love to think. Have you seen the movie Ender's Game at all?
I think so.
It's kind of along that concept. Like he's trained for a game, and then in the end, they basically have him fight the actual battle, but he thinks it's a game sort of thing. But yeah, it could be interesting to think of the way that games and storylines in games change like the way that we think about what we do as humans. Very fascinating.
I was thinking of Gamer. Yeah. It's not the same one.
I don't think it's the same one. I mean, I could be wrong. I could be misremembering. I think it was Ender's Game because the kid's name was, I think, Ender. I don't know. It's fascinating though, man. I love what Elon does. I feel like our next episode we should just talk about Elon the whole time. Like I'm like,
Yes.
what's one thing you love about Elon? It's this.
Yeah,
What's
I
one thing
could.
you love about Elon?
All day. All
Yep.
day.
I'm all on board. There was somebody on a podcast not too long ago, or maybe it was Clubhouse. I was hearing something. Someone was saying his response to becoming a billionaire was basically like, "Huh, back to work," and it's so savage. Like, or becoming the most rich man in the world, rather, because he technically is like he has the title of richest man in the world, and his response to it was basically like, "Cool, back to work," and it's that's perfect.
Have you gone on to like talk to a person and just like who ask someone who their role model is or someone they look up to or like a mentor and they just have no answer though? Like they just have no name that pops their head, and it's just like it is so important
Dude,
to have
yeah.
someone to mold yourself into, to look up to have an idol. A lot of people like looked up to religion or Superman or whatever. You're just like literally anyone, Einstein, just like having Mike Tyson, just like someone that inspires you to know that some stuff is possible. It just inspiration is so heavy and huge in your life. I think it's so important.
Yeah. I think we should all have somebody that we're kind of looking up to. That's something in the last few years. I have multiple older people that I'm like, I hope that I can be the type of person that would hang out with these people later in my life because I'm, existing as the same personality traits of this person because they inspire me so much. I want to aspire to be them. Like me, I'm like, if I see someone who's awesome, I'm like, how could I be more like that person? How could I shape these aspects of me to be true to myself, but also, tap into what they have. And I think that's super important. I think everybody could use an idol or even like a few idols, like just be inspired by somebody and follow what they do and trust yourself to lean into those inspirations.
I think it's humbling too, just like not accept like you're the shit, like you could always be better,
Yes.
It's just like, even those people, but it's someone to look up to is just healthy.
Yeah, I totally agree. Ryan, we're getting up here in time. I would love to ask you one more question before we close it out. Is that cool with you?
Yeah, I was starting to get tired. So.
Yeah, good
We're getting
night.
cotton mouth.
Taking a nap. Yeah, no, that's how it goes. So I've been asking a question of this sort lately, and I feel like it really just comes up with great answers. So I want to stick it to you, Ryan. What would you say the world could use a little more of right now? And by the world, I mean
discipline.
Discipline?
Yep.
More discipline?
More discipline, straight up. Just no one's disciplined anymore. And it goes down to how you wake up in the morning, the stuff that you put into your mind when you talk to yourself in the mirror, what you say, how you eat, how you treat your body, what you do, what you allow people to say to you, what you read, look, how you spend your time. There's complete lack of discipline and a lack of persistence. That's like people just need to shut out for a little bit. I've worked, besides right now, I've got a bum hip because I worked so freaking hard for so many, days and for so many years. But sometimes it's necessary to just put everything on hold and grind and chase your dreams and do what's right to make your body healthy and your mind healthy and put that first before anything. And I feel like people just don't have the discipline to care about themselves entirely or have the motivation or drive to even want to make a change. A lot of people complain just to complain, and that's something that I just can't stand. It's like if someone has a problem, I'm going to give them a solution. I'm going to devise it out, and I'm going to tell them exactly the steps of how to do it. And a lot of it is because I've been through the same shit. And, it's people don't want to do it, then stop complaining about it. It's just people need to have more discipline. It's just people just need to stop complaining and start doing. You know,
Yeah.
that's what I can say.
Yeah. I love that, man. Discipline equals freedom. That's what Jocko Willink says. And I think that's massive. I think we see discipline as something that like limits us, but it actually opens us up, man, in this constantly distracted, overly informationized, that's not a sentence, but like we're just getting so much information thrown at us. And so if we can be disciplined and say, nah, fuck that, I ain't listening to that. Nah, fuck that, I ain't listening to you. Nah, fuck that. Like just accept discipline, man. Beautiful. I think that's a perfect answer. I love it. It's great. Ryan, thank you again, man. I really appreciate this. Thank you for acting on, people referencing that we should link up. Thank you for taking that.
They were right.
And hitting me with the message. They were right.
I should have.
This is great vibes, man.
You know what? I don't know if I should have done it sooner because everything happens when it's supposed to happen, So yeah. I feel like it was great. This is a great experience. So I appreciate you too.
Yeah, man. Yeah, thanks again. I'm sure the listeners are going to get a lot out of this. So we'll link up. Yeah, we'll have to send some text back and forth later on. So listeners, take care of yourself. Focus on discipline. If you never really thought about the word discipline much. Self-love, and discipline.
Love
100%.
the fuck out of yourself.
Yeah, why wouldn't you, man? What do you like? Love yourself. It's very important. Drink water, stretch, work on your self-love, discipline. This is the Junkyard Love Podcast. It's been me and Ryan Baker. Thanks again, man. We'll talk to you later.
Later.
Knowledge is power.
Reality is